What your school never taught you about personal finance. My school didn't teach me about personal finance because, as we already know, I'm old, I've got no hair. They didn't teach me that way back when. Yes, there were schools. Shocker, I know. I know that's changed though. Schools now do teach you about personal finance, but this is my experience. So it doesn't really matter what they do now. It's kind of what I suffered from before. So what didn't they talk about? Well, tax codes and payslips. I know we've talked about that on a previous video, but tax codes and payslips, they're important. Why are they important? Because that governs how much comes into your pocket. How much can you expend? If the revenue get your tax code wrong and change it to BR, that means you're going to get taxed at 20% on absolutely everything. Rather than being 1255L, then that's a problem. Because that then means that your personal allowance isn't being taken into an account and then you're not getting paid the right amount of money. If you don't know how to read a payslip, you don't know what that thing called a tax code is, and where do you have to go to get that changed, then that's going to create you a problem. And then you've got to talk to somebody like me to try and get that dealt with. We've talked before about those things called borrowings. I know, nasty little things, but they're really easy to get into. So, what's the worst thing that you can do when you come to borrow? A payday loan. Those are bad, very bad, but they're instantaneous cash, and at the point of which you need the money, it's really easy to go, yes, please go and get a payday loan, because that gets me through today, tomorrow, the next day. But please remember, with a payday loan, the bad thing about it is the interest rate is high. What do I mean by high? High. That's more than 50%, probably more than 90%, and maybe more than 100. That's right, you could be paying all of that money back, plus the interest, which could be double what you've already borrowed, over the course of a year. Don't do payday loans unless it's really, 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 really bad. So credit cards, that's kind of still borrowing. Do we consider that as bad or not? I don't know. I want my Nike Air Force Pro, who knows what they are, white, big platform trainer things, but I want them now. Not instant, I want them now. But I got to say, no, I want to save up. No, I want my credit card. Give me my credit card. I'll buy out my credit card. It's fine. I'll pay it back next month. It's all going to be good. But I've forgotten about my best friend's birthday next week. Not going to pay it back next month. I'll pay it back the month after. Thing about credit cards is you have to repay the money. It's not free money. There's no such thing as free money. That's what schools should be talking to you about. They should tell you that there is no such thing as free money. If you think there's free money, there isn't free money. Because there's no such thing as free money. So if we're looking at borrowing and what we do about borrowing, the thing to remember about it is interest rates. That's the key thing. APRs. God, what's an APR? Man, I just understand interest rates. That's those things they talk about in maths and they go, interest, you got to do this and change it by that. Well, yeah, that's right. But an annual percentage rate is what a credit card, borrowing, mortgage, whatever it happens to be, will charge you over the course of the year. The higher the percentage, guess what? The more you have to repay. And the likelihood is, the higher the percentage, the more the finance person considers you to be a risk. So you have to remember that when looking at interest rates, looking at APRs, it's not just about the amount that you've got to repay, but also about what the person considers to you to be as a risk. Mortgages. What's a mortgage? Mortgage. Oh, that's that thing. Oh, yeah. That's right. Old people have. Oh, me. I have a mortgage. Yeah, that's right. I have a mortgage. Why is a mortgage important? Because that's probably the only way you're going to be able to buy a house. Otherwise, you're going to be renting. If you're renting, that's fine. But remember, you never own the house at the end of the day. You don't own the asset. A mortgage is a way of you borrowing to buy a house. That means that you're going to be paying the amount that you pay in rent, but you're paying it to a mortgage company. And in the future, you're going to own the house. That's why a mortgage is important. That's what you need to know about it. So we get to the end of the month and we go, oh, this is brilliant. I've got £100 left. What shall I do with that? One thing you need to remember is over the course of time, the likelihood is of the government, on whoever that happens to be, are supporting you when you come to older life. It's going to be less and less likely the younger that you are. That's right. There might not be a state pension when you come to retire. Why are pensions important? Pensions are important because you put money into them and they grow over a period of time. What that means is that's going to give you a pot of money that you can then draw upon when you want to retire. Hopefully you're going to retire at 47, 57, whatever it happens to be. Not 954, as my children think that's going to be the case. A pension enables you to get into that or to retire at a much earlier stage rather than leaving it and hoping that that's going to go away. If you don't provide for a pension, what's that going to leave you with? The state? I've already said that might not be the case. Or you're going to inherit money. Now that might come from parents, grandparents, whoever that might be. But remember, inheritance is a gift. It's not a right. Please don't think that you're just going to inherit that and everything is going to be fine, because that might not be the case. So I know when I was at school, as I've already said, old time, all that stuff. Yeah, we know, old hair. Yeah, get it. Right, okay. But they didn't teach you about personal finance. They now do. I know those lessons aren't very interesting. I know they're boring. You'd prefer to be watching TikTok, Instagram, going out with your mates, vaping, whatever it happens to be. Although, by the way, vaping's bad. Just thought I'd mention it. But all of those things are far more important than personal finance that you think now. But what happens when you're 25? When you're 30? When you've got children? Yeah, that might happen. And you've got to give them the lessons going back and teach them how to deal with their personal finances. Those lessons now will be with you for life and will help you to get control of your money. Hope you enjoyed this. You know, I've tried to make it a bit funny, a bit joking about old hair, all that sort of stuff. Why not follow me, subscribe, leave me a note, and we'll talk soon.